Are you a good boy, Chester? Hey, vinyl community, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and ProgHat, Edward, over in Texas, has a contest, and I've known Edward for a long time within the vinyl community. A great guy, and he's got about 433 subscribers. So he'd like to see more people enjoy his channel, getting more subscribers. So he's got a contest, and it's ProgHat's 1960s records contest, something to that effect. I'll put the exact title up in my in the heading there. But anyway, I wanted to jump in support of Edward because he's a great guy, and it's fun to show records from our collection. And that's the thing about these contests. It's not trying to win anything. It's not greed, anything like that. It's all about give me an opportunity, give me an excuse to show some of my records, and that's what Edward's done here. ProgHat has given us an excuse to share with the rest of us some records from our collection. And what are we playing right now in the background? Lou Donaldson, Blues Walk. And I really like this album. This is one of the Blue Note Classic, Vinyl Classic series. This is a recording from 1958. And it's got Lou Donaldson on alto sax, Herman Foster on piano, Peck Morrison on bass, Dave Bailey on drums, and Ray Barretto on congo. Very blues-based jazz recording here from Blue Note. So, he's got, I think it was about 8 prompts for us to answer with our video. The first one is to show 3 albums from the 1960s that are, you can say, our favorites, but hey, let me go pull a record and I'll tell you that's my favorite at the time, because that might be what I'm listening to at the time. It's hard for me to say what's my favorite, but these are 3 favorites from the 1960s album wise. And I actually am doing it an album from 1960, one from 61 and one from 62. Dwayne Eddy and his twangy guitar and the Rebels. That is a 1960 release right there on Jamie Records. Beatles hadn't come out yet. This is the direction rock was headed. This was called $1 Million Worth of Twang. You get that surf guitar, that twangy surf guitar. Great, Dwayne Eddy and Dick Dale and all those guys. Great sounding stuff. From 1961, on Columbia Records, Lester Flatt, Earl Scruggs, featuring Mother Maybelle Carter and their band, the Foggy Mountain Boys, songs of the famous Carter family. And there's Mother Maybelle right there. One of the sweetest ladies. I wished I had been able to know that lady back in her day. But wonderful, the founding mother of country music, before they even called it country music. Mother Maybelle Carter had her own, called it the Carter scratch picking style that she made. Not saying that she totally invented it, not necessarily, but she really brought it into prominence. Lester Riddle, I believe, African-American guy that helped her brother AP, or brother-in-law AP, gather music in the countryside. He helped her. His guitar style was similar, and she learned a lot from him as well. But there's some two of the most famous bluegrass artists, Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, combining their talents with one of the founders of country music, Mother Maybelle. And then in 1962, Jazz Samba, and this is Stan Getz and Charlie Bird, 2 jazz soloists play fresh contemporary sounds from modern Brazilian folk music. This is on Verb. Okay, so there are 3 albums. And then we need 3 songs from the 1960s that we really like, some of our favorite songs from the 1960s. Well, I was in elementary school, born in 58, so in elementary school by 63 or so. Every kid, you were nobody in elementary school if you couldn't take 2 pencils and play Wipeout. Now, the Safaris, I believe, are the first ones to do Wipeout, but we probably know the Ventures version as good or better than anybody's. This is Golden Hits by the Ventures. I love that cover, don't you? Maybe that's better. I don't know. Or maybe that's better. But the Ventures, great instrumental music, just like Dwayne Eddy, which I showed earlier. And Wipeout was a mainstay. If you went to a street dance when you were a kid, the band there at 4th of July or whatever the occasion might be, the band there was going to play Wipeout if they had a drummer. Okay, and you know, singles were some of the best music in the 60s. You know, for a long time, that was your mainstay. It wasn't an album was nothing but a couple of singles and some filler for a lot of times. One of the bands that had some of the best singles in the 1960s to me would be Tommy James and the Shondells. Here's a best of album, and there are all kinds of best ofs you could pick or favorites you could pick from their best of catalog. They got Sugar on Sunday, Sweet Cherry Wine, Think I'm Alone Now, Hanky Panky, Money Money, Crimson and Clover. But the one I'm going to select is Crystal Blue Persuasion. Love that song. That's just such a great song. And isn't that the one that was used in the closing episode of Breaking Bad? I can't remember. I think it was Crystal Blue Persuasion. Anyway, now people talk about soundstage all the time, and you know, some people go looking for the ultimate pressing using the certain stamper and you know the mother and the all this sort of stuff, and you know they seek out all this stuff. So you know, I appreciate people that do that. But me, I'm more like, you know, give me a good clean copy of something and let's enjoy the music and not obsess on that. And so when I come across something that has the type of soundstage that just takes your breath away, it's always interesting what it might be. One of the 2 best albums I've got as far as sitting in the optimum spot in front of your stereo, in front of your speakers, and getting a feeling of being surrounded by the music. Of, you know, here's this instrument, here's that instrument, here's the singer in front of me singing. Believe it or not, it's just a plain old Glenn Campbell album, bought for $1 or $2 at a thrift shop probably. I don't remember where I got this. This is the album Galveston, and I picked that song Galveston. But this particular album, just a plain old capital with a little rainbow circle. This particular album, the sound stage on it is just overwhelming. It is just far superior than anything I've heard else I put on the turntable. Don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's pressing, maybe it's the stamper they use, maybe it was one of the first ones run off. Who knows? But just excellent. And so I'll pick the song Galveston. Now I could have picked any number. Glenn Campbell in the 60s had the best run of singles, I think, of any artist during that era. When he had Gentle on My Mind, By the Time I Get to Phoenix, Galveston, and Wichita Lineman. I mean, those 4 songs were just unbelievable. I could pick any of those 4 and they would work. Then the next prompt was your favorite artist from the 1960s. And my favorite artist from the 1960s is Bobby Gentry. And this is Delta Sweetie. This is a repressing of Delta Sweetie. Her follow-up to Ode to Billy Joe. But this is this excellent album, for one thing. Wasn't it a beautiful lady? Beautiful lady. Kind of a concept album. But Bobby's career started in 67. Her recording career started in 67 when the single Ode to Billy Joe and the album by the same title came out, and she exploded onto the scene. A lot of people don't realize this, but even though she's not credited, basically that whole album was produced by Bobby Gentry, a female artist producing their own record. Heck, a female producing any record was unheard of. She did not actually get the credit as the producer of that album, but she really did produce it. Bobby Gentry. Her career, was a very varied career. And she retired pretty early in her career and went on to do other things. Still with us today in retirement. A lot of people say she's a recluse. She's not a recluse. She just doesn't seek out the limelight. She's living happily in retirement in her later years. Okay, and then so that's all the questions. Plus, he had a bonus question: show your favorite album from 1968, the year that Edward was born. So, gosh, it's so hard to pick. There's so many great albums, but I'll show a soul record because I don't think I've shown any soul music here so far. Arthur Conley, Soul Directions. Great album. Great album. This is the follow-up to the 67 album, Sweet Soul Music. It's on Atco. And most of these songs he wrote himself or co-wrote. He's got some, Spooner Odom and Dan Penn wrote a couple of them, but he co-wrote or wrote most of these. And interestingly, this album is produced by Tom Dawg, the great engineer. Okay, Arthur Conley. If you want to hear some good soul music, he maybe isn't somebody that we hear mentioned that much today, but he was an important figure and made some great soul music. All right, so there's my entry into Edward. ProgHat is what his channel is known as. Please sub to ProgHat's channel, Edward's channel, if you haven't already subbed to it. Please do. He's a great guy. Shares a lot of interesting music with us, and I think you'll enjoy that. And I appreciate you watching mine. Please hit the like button, not because it does it for any reason for me, but because if you hit the like button, more people might see this, might watch it, and might go to Edward's channel, learn about Edward's channel. Remember, folks, be kind to your neighbors because we are all neighbors. There's too much meanness in this world. Too much meanness. Do something nice for somebody every day. Bye.